Here we go, episode 6. So things just progressed a little bit after I filmed the last episode. I decided that I was going to give this a sand, prime and a paint and a clear. Came out all right, you know, not asking for perfection by any means. Got a little bit of a sheen to it, probably polish it up a bit more, but you know, at the end of the day, this is really the only bit that's seen. The rest of it has stuff all over it, but it was more just to protect it. But we got in all the nooks and crannies with it as well, so it's all nicely protected. Got a brand new wing rail on there as well, as you can see, new hardware. It's just on loose at the moment. And then I've stone chipped it all, completely stone chipped the whole underside of this thing. It's been primed as well, but you can see it looks nice there. So there we go. Also decided to rip the front shock and spring out and the strut top, or the cone, whatever they call it. And I cleaned up the whole chassis rail and stone chipped that as well. There you go. We also stone chipped that. Put a bit of blue paint just on this bit here because you can see that. There we go. So that's all good to go. So what we need to do is put the body mounts on, pedal box back in, which we're going to rebuild that today. Then we've got to put the inner wing on. Then we've got to put the mount for the wing. Now I might actually nut and bolt that on. The last one was welded, but I might nut and bolt that on. And then we can bolt the wing on. And yeah, then we can work our way around to the other side. We can rip that apart. I'm also going to today try and get some of this area cleaned up on the suspension, get the caliper off, get the disc off, get the rest of the brake lines out, and then they can all get sent off and get done. But I was toing and froing, humming and hawing whether I'm going to take off the axle or not. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I will. I do need to replace a lot of the bushes, you know, and I do want to give it a bit of a brush up and a little bit of a paint. I'm not going for a full rebuild. It just seems like a lot of effort just to drop it out, really, just to clean it and paint it when, you know, it's already in position and I can just replace each bush as and when I get to it, which is what I think I'll do. So for now, we're just going to strip the rest of this down, put the body mounts in, get the pedal box cleaned up, painted, and start putting it all back together again. I'll stick you on a time lapse. Okay, so these are now in paint. They've got 2 coats of satin black on. Come out pretty well. Not going for perfection again, but yeah, pretty good. Right, so working on to suspension now, while that's all drying. These are well, this is the shock absorber that's come off this front. And it is, after a bit of cleaning, it's one of those, which is apparently, I think it's, I can't remember, it's a really common company that make those, but they were obviously rebranded. Apparently these are heavy duty springs and it needs heavy duty springs. And these shocks are actually pretty good. So I'm thinking I might just wire wheel them down and clean them new bushes. I'll probably replace the springs, I'm not sure. I might blast them. I mean, to be honest with you, I might just put new suspension on. Just depends on how much it's going to cost. So I think what we're doing now as well, I've just pulled the caliper off. That took forever to get off. I want to strip this hub down, take the disc off, get the rest of those brake lines off that I cut off. Take off the rear arm, what's it called, a radius arm. Pull that off because those bushes are knackered and the one at the back there is knackered as well. So might as well strip off what we've got to strip off on here. And then we can get an angle grinder on it and start cleaning it up, ready to paint at some point. But I'll paint the axle in one go, but it just makes sense while I'm on this side, just to strip off what we need to strip off. Okay, so it's now another day. Basically what we did is we stripped down this hub, ended up cutting those brake lines out, took the disc off, and I wire brushed everything. And I've wire brushed it until probably about halfway across the axle. I've then used some thinners on it and really got all the grease and dirt off. So it's, it's good now. It doesn't really need a primer or anything like that. I did find this quite interesting. I like that. I'm not really sure what's happened there. That's where the radius arm bolts in. I'm guessing it maybe got damaged at some point. But I mean, the welds are strong, so I'm probably going to leave that really because it's part of the car's history. And we're not striving for like perfection here, so I'm not too bothered about that. Yeah, so basically what we've done is we've stripped that down, took the radius arm off as well. The bushes were non-existent up there where it bolts through that outrigger. And yeah, so I made a decision with the shocks. I just really couldn't be bothered with refurbishing them, especially when suspension isn't that expensive for these cars. So here, this is what we've all got at the moment. So there's the inner wing, that's all ready to bolt on. That's the pedal box, that's all good to go. That's what's holding me up at the moment. I want to bolt that in, but I've ordered a new gasket. There's a seal that goes around here, a watertight foam seal, and I don't want to put it in. I mean, it could go in with the wing in place, but it's just going to be a little bit, it's easier just to stick it in before you put the wing in, so we'll do that. Yep, so we've got the turret, that's all, clean that up, that's all done. Got a brand new clutch slave cylinder there, the support ring, that's been all done. And all this, I took this all back to bare steel before I painted it as well, and it's been primed twice and painted once with a clear over it, but it's still satin, which is what I'm looking for. I could have gone crazy, I could have bought new things, I could have taken this completely apart and cleaned these springs up, but I'm not trying to over restore it, just, preserve the car. That's the airbox, that's all been done as well. So that's all gone down to its component parts, which would be nice. Just need to track down their filter for that. That seems to be non-existent, even with the part number. It seems to be really hard to find, so that's my next challenge. Gone for Bearmark heavy duty springs. They have to be heavy duty because of the weight of the engine on this thing. And it does have heavy duty springs on it, and they're not that bad. They just need a blast and a clean. But by the time you blast and clean them, pick the set of these up for 65 quid. So you might as well just get them. Gone for the Super Gas shock absorbers. And again, these are heavy duty. And I've had these before. I had these on a Defender, and I actually quite like them. I will say these are crap. These bushes that come with them, absolutely rubbish. And I didn't actually know this, but it is a Britpart part, which I do try to stay away from normally, but I've had a good experience with these before, and they're not sort of, they're not rubbish. So probably we'll put those bushes on for now, but then I'll order a set of better bushes and swap those over at some point, but I don't want it to hold me up too long. We've got new spring plates to go on the axle. There's nothing wrong with the ones that came off it, but again, 15 quid for a set of those. It's silly not to, isn't it? Really, while you're there, you might as well put something new on there and make it look a little bit more presentable, and it's not going to fail. And it comes with new bolts, nuts and stuff. What's that? Radius arm? No, that's a body mount. I've got two of those. These two on each side at the front. Radius arm bushes. There's a couple of choices of which ones go on this car, and I'm pretty sure I've got the right ones, but knowing me, I've probably got the wrong ones. That's radius arm mounts as well. So yeah, so that's what we got. So first things first, we are going to we're going to paint this area. I'm going to satin black all of it, and I'm just going to get some nice metal paint and brush paint on so it goes really thick and gets into all the gaps. So we'll do that, then we'll put the spring plate on, then we'll put the spring in, then we'll drop the shock down, and then we'll put the shock mount on top, shock turret on top. We've also got a brand new, I'm pretty sure there is actually in there somewhere, there's actually a brand new set of discs that came with it for the front, so I'm probably going to stick those on. But as I say, I've decided not to strip this axle down, to its component parts. There's no play in the swivel joints at all. It's very stiff, very tight, which is nice. There's no slack in that differential. There's a little bit, and they always do, but nothing excessive. So yeah, so we'll do that, then we'll rebuild the radius arm, bolt that on, and yeah, so I'll stick it on a time lapse and just watch me bang this all together again. Hopefully we get it all done this side, and then tomorrow we can put in the pedal box. Once the pedal box is in, then we can put the wing on. When the wing is on, then we put the mount for the washer bottle, for the coolant bottle, and we can put the mount for the airbox. And was there something else that goes on there? Oh, there was a brake, there was a servo for the clutch, but that had been disconnected. Oh, and while I'm on the subject of things that are knackered, this thing looks great. Absolutely fantastic. You know, they're quite hard to come by, these early servos, as I've come to find now. You can buy the other ones for little money, but not these ones. And yeah, it was all going well until I started cleaning it up, and it looked fine. I sort of cleaned up all around here, and I was getting in. As you can see, it was actually coming back quite well. But then we have this. Now, that's a problem. I can make this. I could make this and I could weld this and repair it, but that's not the point. It's a sealed unit. You can rebuild them. There's a big spring in there, and you don't want to be taking this apart unless you know what you're doing. And I don't with servos, I'll be completely honest with you. And I don't particularly want to weld anything that's going to be a brake-related part. It just doesn't sit right with me. So we're going to find one. I was chatting to Cornish Wreckers. They've got possibly two. He's going to send me a picture, and it has to have this fitting on it. That's the problem, is this ringlet fitting. The later ones have a fork. If he's got one of those and it's any good, we'll have that. If not, I did see Famous 4. I think they sell them, and I think they're sort of 300 to 400 quid. And if that's no good, there is a guy, I can't remember his name, but he's in Hampshire and he specialises in these Range Rovers. He did say he had one, but it was £700, and yeah, we sort of hopefully we don't have to get to the point where we spend £700 on a brake servo, because then that's really going to sort of start eating up a lot of the money that I want to spend elsewhere. But yeah, so let's put it together. Here we go. So as you can see, she's all painted up underneath there now. Came out pretty well. Looks very presentable now, which is what I want it to do, just look maintained and presentable. Put the new spring plate in. Had to use the original bolts because I didn't realise this was actually a bolt-through part, not a nut and bolt. New bushes on, new springs. There we go. Did a couple of little bits and pieces off camera as well. I seam sealed all the welding joints, so they're all done, which is good. It just neatens it up a little bit, but makes it completely watertight because, you know, nobody ever can weld perfectly without a little pinhole. And I'm sure there was a couple of pinholes there, but now it's completely watertight. Also did a couple little bits off camera as well. I've refurbished this hub. So that's all done. I completely bare metaled that. Probably see on the front as well. It's wet at the moment. Yep, still being bare metaled. And all these surfaces have been really well cleaned as well. And that's really important. If you ever do these, make sure these surfaces are completely clean. No paint on them, no grit, no rust, bare metal them. And then when you assemble them, put a really thin smear of anti-seize compound on them, and that'll stop any kind of brake judder. Here's a brand new disc that came with the car. It was really rusty, but I've just gone over it with a really quick go over wire wheel, but didn't really put any pressure on it, just took it was only surface rust. So that can go straight onto there. So that's drying, that can bolt onto there, which means that can then go onto here, which would be nice. Repack the bearing. I've taken the bearings out so they can be all re-greased up, so that can go on there. And then tomorrow, I'm actually going off early in the morning to go pick up the wheels. So the wheels have all been refurbished with the tyres fitted, so we can put this on. There won't be a caliper, but we can put the hub on, we can put the wheel on, put the inner wing on, put the pedal box in, put the wing on, drop it down, and then this corner is basically ticked off, minus the caliper and the brake lines, and then this servo. But yeah, so we can just work our way around. But yeah, there we go. So it looks a lot better. Just nearly a quarter of the car done. Fantastic. here we go. Everything progressed a little bit quickly off camera. I didn't actually turn the camera on, I'll be honest. I forgot. And it just was going together really quickly. This only took a few hours really, but we're at a really good position now. So the inner wing's on completely. Headlights in, had to re-drill it to make that fit, but we put new screws on there, swapped across the little plate, which is nice, and I was quite happy with the paint match actually, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not painting this centre panel because it's original and I don't really need to, and obviously I don't want it to be perfect. So the airbox is back in, that was all drilled in. The header tank, that's in. All the brackets, all new bolts. The pedal box is in, it's got a new gasket on it, got a new clutch mast cylinder in there as well. The wing is back on. There we go. I've cleaned it inside as well, so the whole wing was given a clean. I've not done anything to the paint yet. I'm going to do the whole car at the end. And yeah, there you go. As you can see, it's all basically brand new in here, which is lovely. All new nuts and bolts, new body mounts. This is the lower wing bracket in here, if you can see that. I had to make a little bracket for that. But yeah, so that's all on. Yeah, there's the axle, all the suspension. All looks quite nice under there. So yeah, not too far off now really. All I've got to do really is put the disc and the hub on, and then this side's done really. Oh, and the steering rod at the back, I'm possibly going to replace that. I'm not sure yet. I'll see what I'm going to do with that, but it's still down at the moment because the radius arm still needs to go on, and I've had a snag with the radius arm. The bushes I ordered for it were the wrong ones, and I've looked and I've realised I've ordered the wrong ones. I've got the later ones which are too thick, so I'm going to order those. And also, here we go. Here's the wheels. Absolutely stunning. Beautiful, beautiful job on these wheels. I mean, you can just see the quality of them. Proper powder coating. Absolutely fantastic. And a set of period wheels, period tyres as well, some Firestones. They came with the wheels when I bought them. And yeah, just thought might as well stick them on. Probably change them at some point. But they'll do for now, just for moving it around. But yeah, these were done by a company, and I'll put them in the description, called Tudor Wheels. They are just down on the edge of the New Forest, just off the M27 A31, where it sort of crosses over. Fantastic. Just asked to speak to a guy called Richard. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I think he's something like 69, 70 pounds or something per wheel for blasting and refitting the tyres, then plus any extras that I paid extra for the inner tubes. But I think all these wheels, blasted, powder coating, new tubes, and the tyres refitted on them. Oh, and he goes, obviously they do everything to these wheels as well. Came to £415, which wasn't too bad, and I paid £200 for the wheels and tyres as they were. So yeah, bit of a saving there, because normally a set of these is about 1,500 quid. So we saved a bit of money there. But yeah, no, they're fantastic, and I couldn't thank Richard enough. He did a fantastic job. But yeah, so that's where we're at now. That's the end of this episode. I'm going to possibly stay a little bit later tonight, and I might strip down the other side and see how far we get with that. Also, we'll just note, someone did send me a message and did like to point out that I'd done something wrong, and I did know I was doing it wrong, but here, this should have a lip from here that continues down here, and I could easily have done that, but I didn't, and the reason is because it's a water trap and a mud trap, and it just rots out, like you can see on this side. If this one's still got it on this side, no, it hasn't, that's long gone. But yeah, no, I'm not trying to make it factory original by any means, because it's not. So yeah, there we go. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll put a next video out in about a week or two. Cheers.